Welcome, everybody, back to the Friar Talk podcast and YouTube channel. For today's episode, we're going to be going live, recapping a sweep against the Cubs. Got to see the bats completely wake up. I believe right now the Padres offense is now top 6 in runs, which is something that I was not expecting at all. I think me and Isaac were talking about it last night, that they might flirt with hopping into the top 5, which is just crazy when you look at this team. They don't have Fernando yet. Reinforcements are on the way. Feels like they're still going to add an outfield bat, though Nomar Mazara has been balling out. And you're seeing a lot of guys get really hot. I am currently wearing a Jake Cronin God jersey. I brought that up once he hopped out of the slump. He has been unbelievable. I don't know if you guys saw today, but he is actually right now. So since he debuted, he is tied with Jose Altuve, leading the entire league in WAR for second baseman. Cronenworth is that guy. So you're seeing him break out. You're seeing Luke Voigt break out. Alfaro had another home run. Profar had another home run. Profar had a great series, but the offense absolutely exploded. I do get that the Cubs are terrible, so I think that's something to bring. But, I mean, anytime you have a 4-game sweep, that's massive. So I'm very, very happy right now. But how are you guys feeling about this Padres team? Because they're currently in first place right now as we speak, which is unbelievable considering that they don't have Fernando. A lot of question marks with the lineup. We expected the pitching staff to be fantastic, but even the bullpen's banged up right now. You don't have your bullpen at full strength. You haven't had Clev. Snell, opening series of the year, he gets hurt. He hasn't really been there that much. Couple solid starts, definitely looking in a positive direction, but a lot of guys have really stepped up to the plate. So we've seen some great stuff. But how do you guys feel about this team right now?
It's hard to feel anything other than great for this team. I mean, like you said, we're in first. We just swept the Cubs. We put up 19 runs last night. We put up another, 6 today. I mean, our offense has been on fire. Mazara hit his first series. Profar homered. We saw Alfaro go 3 for 6. We saw Cronenworth nearly get 3 hits every single game this series. Other than the Ryan Weathers start, which was rocky, which we kind of expected just because of his numbers in AAA. No, Joe went out and did his thing. We were in every single game. Even when we went down, we came back. It was a great series. We finally reached first place. We thought we were going to get it last week. Finally got it this week. Hopefully we can add some padding between the Dodgers while they are on their little bit of a rough stretch. But we got some weaker teams coming up. We need to really take advantage of that. I mean, when's the last time we could say we were in first place and actually be really confident that we could keep this position going on? Because we still don't have Tatis. We're down Mike Clev. Motorhone just finally came back, but it's just a good feeling. It's a good time to be a Padre.
The last time we were in first this deep into the season was in 2010. Now, of course, 2010 wasn't the best season, or it didn't end up being the best season, but this team's a lot better than that 2010 team, I would say. You look at what the Padres are doing from top to bottom, I think almost every single one of them this month, outside of maybe 1 or 2 guys, I think it's Hosmer. It's just Hosmer, I believe it is. Outside of Hosmer, every other player in this lineup has been above average or better so far this month. If you look at WRC plus, most of them are 100 and higher. Jorge Alfaro being the highest, followed by, I believe, Jake Cronenworth, then Jerkson Profar, so on and so forth. So this team has been fantastic. I mean, all these guys had some pretty great series. I can't think of a guy, maybe Eric Hosmer, both offensively and defensively. He had some hits today, but man, his defense was atrocious to say the least today. Two I wouldn't say costly because they ended up winning, and I mean theirs didn't end up mattering, but you know what I'm trying to say. But I feel like we should talk about Jorge Alfaro. I mean, I'm gonna look up the stats amongst catchers. I believe right now he's top 3 in OPS. He's not a bad catcher. He's pretty fast. He's providing so much value to this Padres lineup that, I mean, did any of us think he was going to do that? I mean, I sure as hell didn't think he was going to do that. We saw how hard he hit the ball, but I thought it'd be more out of left field, maybe DH a couple times. But he's been a fantastic player for the Padres. I mean, deserves more at bats than Austin Nola, but you got to give it to Nola. He is a great catcher, just not a great hitter. Yeah, great series, 4-game sweep. Very hard to do that in the MLB, even if it's against a lowly team like the Cubs. We said it; they're gonna have to get to the Cubs' bullpen in order to win these games. They did it the second and third game, and I mean, this game, of course, they got to all their pitchers. So really, really good series for the Padres.
Yeah, I mean, you look around this team right now, and it feels like almost every position is trending in the right direction. Profar, dude has balled out. I mean, we've talked about him, but we were not expecting this from Jurickson Profar at all. We were expecting left field to be one of the weaker spots in the lineup, and Profar has been spectacular early on, not only offensively but also defensively. Dude, he has had a cannon. That is probably the biggest change of being an infielder that was known for having a weak arm and adjust his arm angle, make some changes, basically ready to be that full-time outfielder, and has been fantastic. Um, Jorge Alfaro right now has an 808 OPS, hitting 280. He's what, third on the team? No, I forget. I think he's like fourth on the team in home runs right now. But at catcher, he's got to be one of the better catchers right now in the NL. So that's something that's really awesome to see. And yeah, when you talk about him and Nola has not been good. Nola's hitting 220, providing no power. I know that another thing that people bring up is that he doesn't throw guys out. Alfaro doesn't throw that many guys out, but Alfaro definitely has a stronger arm. So maybe you don't see the best framing from Alfaro, and you don't see maybe the pitchers don't get along with him, or not get along, but they don't have the same feel as him that they do with Nola. But I think when you're looking at it, you go, well, Alfaro is having way more offensive production. He is throwing guys out. It feels like when Nola's behind the plate, a lot of teams are running a lot. So, and I think we are starting to see it too. It does feel like Alfaro is at the very least splitting the games with Nola, but even right now, I feel like Alfaro's out there more often than not. There's a couple guys that pretty much always have Nola, but it does feel like Alfaro's starting to become that primary catcher, which is pretty crazy. Another guy that balled out today and balled out in the series was Nomar Mazara. So what do those three guys all have in common? They're all ex-Rangers. We've talked about this so many times with Preller. Maybe did it just take this long for the Rangers guys to ball out? I don't know, but he's been awesome. So I mean, now Mazara is very early on, but I saw someone talking up here in the chat saying, "Hey, when Myers comes back, you have Mazara and Myers." Here it is, hacks. You'll have Mazara and Myers platoon. That's an interesting thing to bring up. We also talked about letting Myers bulk up a little bit, let him get some reps at first, let him get some DH reps, kind of swap him with Voit and Haas in that kind of role there. I don't know if they're really going to try to do that, but it makes the trade deadline a lot more interesting, I feel like, because when you look at it, the big thing was, okay, you're going to have to add an outfielder. Well, right now, if you look at it and you go, okay, we're expecting Myers to come back and be the same guy he's been. He'll be all right. You have Mazara out there. You have Azokar as another depth guy, but the only guy that's really just has not put up good numbers is Grisham. And even Trent Grisham has looked good lately. So it's tough when you look at this and kind of looking at it, where are they going to go and make that big move? And maybe it's something where they trade a couple guys and they try to take a huge swing, but they don't feel like they're forced in that spot anymore, which is a really good spot to be at the deadline, because last year it felt like they had to go add someone, right? They didn't have enough starting pitching. They wanted to go make a big move, and then they ended up striking out, and it felt like the season almost ended then. It really did. Right now, and we're still a couple months away from about a month and a half away from the trade deadline, but right now there's nothing that's kind of screaming as a need for this team, and their record shows it. Their record absolutely shows it. You watch this team day in and day out, and you can tell this is a legit team. This is a legit contender. Do I still want to see them make a solid move? Yes. Do they have to make the playoffs? I don't think so, and I was expecting them to have to add an outfielder. The outfield still overall as a whole hasn't put up good numbers, but Machado's balled out. Also, we didn't even say it. Congratulations to Machado. He is 1,500 hit, and if you guys saw, the group of guys with 1,500 hits and 250 home runs before age 30 is a very exclusive group. Manny Machado is on his way to a very obvious Hall of Fame career. He looks like that kind of guy. When he signed his deal in San Diego, I mean, I was super excited. He has been more than what I thought he could have been. So that has been absolutely amazing. So yeah, it's a really good spot to be in. I don't know what are you guys' thoughts on Manny? Kind of, I guess Manny to the Hall of Fame potentially down the road, but I mean he's definitely had a good path. And then I guess what would your thoughts be on some potential guys that could be like, or some potential positions that could be like acquired at the deadline?
I think just mainly bullpen. And when we look at it, Machado, we've known Machado is a great ball player throughout his entire career. And he's just kind of elevated into from being a good ball player into being a captain, because when he was younger, you could say he was a little bit dirty. He had a little bit of a past when he was on the Orioles. The whole little controversy with the Dodgers about him not being Johnny Hustle and everything. And he's really turned it around from there. He's become a much better person, a much better leader, a good clubhouse presence. And you look at him this series, he balled out yesterday. He went 3 for 4 today with another 4 RBIs and 2 walks. I mean, he's leading the team. It's exactly what he's doing. Just when him and Tatis get here, this offense is going to be on another level. And, going back to like acquisitions at the trade deadline, the only real position that you could argue you need is field, just because Trent Grisham has been really hot and cold. It looks like he's coming back and then he drops off. And then, he'll start to make solid contact again, but then he doesn't get any luck. And then a couple of times his only base hits are a bunt single. But when you look at the minor league system right now, you go, Esteury Ruiz has been killing it in AAA. He has not slowed down. If not, he's just gotten better. He is banging on the door, waiting for the Padres to let him in. And I think he deserves a shot before we go out and try to acquire him at the trade deadline, just because the kid has more than earned his opportunity to come up to the bigs and show what he's got. He's hitting over 340. He has over 1,000 OPS. He leads the minor leagues in stolen bases. He plays Gold Glove defense. What more can a kid show you down in AAA before he gets the call up? He absolutely deserves the call up. I think you need to look at him before you try to acquire anyone else, because the kid's a stud. The only other thing you could go out and acquire is if Pierce Johnson ends up going down for the entire year, you may go out and acquire another right-handed reliever, just because you're going to have a plethora of really solid lefties. Without Pierce there, you have Baez, you have Luis Garcia, Suarez when he comes back from his knee injury. But outside of that, Chris, can't forget Chris Matt, but you probably want to add another high leverage righty arm in there just to even it out just a little bit. I think that's the only real move that you need to make. You have Tatis coming back. You have Abrams absolutely killing it in the minor leagues, begging for another shot at the MLB. The Padres are in a good place. I don't think you need to go out and swing for the fences this season.
I see a lot of people talking about Nomar Mazara, and for all the people on the Nomar Mazara over Will Myers train, I might be hopping on soon. I will say that I might be hopping on soon. Not right now though. Nothing really to say about Manny, right? I mean, of course you can say everything you want about him. He's a Hall of Fame talent, but I think he should be a first ballot at this rate. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic throughout his whole career. The only thing I'm hoping is that he goes in as a Padre. So hopefully the Padres are able to win a World Series with him on the team, because I think that would cement that. But Manny Machado's been everything that we needed him to be this season so far. We said at the beginning of the season that with Fernando out, somebody's going to have to pick up the slack. We all knew who it really had to be. It wasn't a matter of somebody. It was a matter of Manny Machado was going to have to pick up the slack and be the captain and perform to the extent that we know he can. And I mean, he's blown those expectations away right now. He's 8th in OPS. He's up there in average. I think he leads the whole league in WAR right now. He's been absolutely fantastic. So nothing much to say about Manny Machado other than our captain is doing things that the best player in baseball would be doing. And as of right now, yes, I do believe he is the best player in baseball. You look at the outfield, and I mean, we're since we're talking about trades, Jurickson Profar has been the second most valuable player for this Padres team. When you look at it from a WAR perspective, he's been the second most valuable guy. Trent Grisham, these past 7 games haven't been very good for him. It's like a 350 slugging with a 276 on base percentage. His last 15 is still decent with 396 slugging, 344 on base. So it's like really hot and cold. He had a nice little stretch there. So hopefully he's able to get back to that soon. But he's back to playing some really solid defense. So I mean, when you look at a bright side for Trent Grisham, that is a bright side, I guess you could say. And then right field, don't get me wrong, I like what Nomar Mazara is doing right now. But I don't think he's going to be the solution to our right to what's going on in right field. I don't think Will Myers is necessarily a solution either. Playing with knee inflammation or whatever it was that he has. I mean, he played with it last year and he wasn't doing good. I don't expect much this year, so I think it's more of an injury thing rather than a talent thing. But I just do still think they need an outfield acquisition. It doesn't have to be anything crazy like where they're giving up the farm, but do we really not expect AJ Preller to do it, to try and do something big? He's done it every offseason. He's done it every trade deadline. He's always trying to do something. Not every trade deadline. Every trade deadline that the Padres have been trying to compete. And every offseason that the Padres have been trying to compete. He has always tried to do something big. So I absolutely expect him to try and do something big. Does he have the resources to do it? Maybe. I really do think that Ryan Weatherstart could have been an audition for another team. I think there's a couple guys down in the minors that we might be seeing in other jerseys. So I think we have some of the resources to do it. Maybe we're not as rich as other teams, but we got some.
Yeah, and I think, Chase, you brought up Estrella Ruiz. Estrella Ruiz has been absolutely fantastic. And if you guys don't know his stolen base numbers, they're out of this world. 44 stolen bases in 57 games between AA and AAA. We talk about CJ Abrams being fast. Estrella Ruiz is on a completely different level. Those are some of the most ridiculous numbers I've heard. And he's, he was in AA tearing it up. They call him up to AAA. He's been even better. So when we look at potentially who we could get called up for, I think he could get called up for Azocar. I think that is a possibility. But and it's not to knock Azocar. I think he's done a solid job in his role as the fourth outfielder of this team. But if he continues to play like that, now the argument will be, well, don't you want him to get everyday reps? I think, of course. I think if Trent Grisham was to get injured, I think you would definitely see Estrella Ruiz immediately come up and immediately be one of those guys. So I think he's kind of in that next man up role right now. But it would be very intriguing to see if he does come up. Looking at where this team could add, I think I would probably lean if they're going to add anywhere, I think that they should try to make a move for a center fielder. I think that and it's not that he's a bad player, but I don't think Trent Grisham is a plus player. He might be a plus defender. He is one of the most inconsistent offensive players I've seen. Doesn't mean you have to just get rid of him or anything like that, but if you do want to go and make an upgrade, I think that makes a lot of sense. You could also make the case for right field, but someone said it up here that basically, Hack says up here, I've seen Mazara face a lefty once and it was terrible. Definitely not over Myers, but have Myers focus against lefties. Myers hits lefties fantastic. So if you have Myers hitting lefties, you have Mazara hitting righties, and basically you would see what they're doing right now with Azocar, how Mazara gets subbed out, Azocar gets subbed out. They bring them in and out. They are a clear platoon. If you did that with Mazara and Myers, you'd end up getting I'm expecting to get a pretty solid player there. And also Mazara is a pretty solid defender as well. I don't know how much credit he gets, but he's kind of a bigger guy, but he's a pretty solid right fielder as well. So you could see them go that route. I don't think that they're going to make a move to upgrade in left field, but also if you go and add an outfielder too, like say you do add a Benintendi or someone, it doesn't hurt to have an extra outfielder. It doesn't hurt to have Mazara or Myers on the bench or, whoever it is where you have an extra guy there because the depth isn't crazy. Now, we were talking about the minor league depth in the outfield, and we talked about this a ton, that there was no one really on the front. And then Estrella Ruiz has kind of come into his own this year. So that's been so big for when you talk about if someone went down with injury. So that's been clutch. See some people talking about Ryan Weathers. Isaac, you brought up that, you could potentially see him in another jersey. I don't know. I don't think it makes much sense, to be honest, because he's looked terrible for a year. There's no other way to put it. I don't know if you guys saw his fastball numbers. He's allowing a 340 average on his fastball. A 340 average. That is abysmal. And yesterday I was watching the game with my buddy. He's not a Padres fan, but we were watching it, and he watched the second inning with me. And when we finished watching the second inning, he looked at me and said, I think that was the worst inning I've ever seen an MLB pitcher have. It was that bad. Now, me and Isaac were talking about it after too. He did calm down a bit after that. He looked a lot better after that, but that inning was brutal. It was just pitches down the middle, or they were almost hitting someone, or it's in the dirt. It was just all over the place. I also don't want to rip on Ryan Weathers, and I see that some people have talked about, hey, he's the same age as Mackenzie Gore, same age as Morhone. He was drafted / signed later than them. Also, guys have different timelines. Guys take a while. I think what the best thing to do with Ryan Weathers is to send him down, not even pitch him in the minors, send him down to the facilities, have him work on some stuff similar to what they did with Mackenzie Gore last year, because Mackenzie Gore's numbers weren't as bad as Ryan's Weathers are right now, but he was having the same type of struggles where he was just all over the place. I remember there was a start last year in the minors where Mackenzie Gore basically came out and could not hit the strike zone. He just could not find it. And they adjusted him. If you saw the stuff that Ruben Niebla had said about like when they worked together in the winter, they changed the way he uses plant foot, and it got him way better, way more accurate. The command was way up. His fastball velocity jumped. Ryan Weathers is kind of lacking the same thing in that regard. I don't think Ryan Weathers is ever going to be, an ace caliber pitcher or anything like that, but I don't think it's time to give up on him. And I also don't think it's time to trade him, because if you trade him now, like, what are you getting? Are you going to toss him in with a bunch of other guys to try to make an upgrade at a position? I don't know if that's necessarily worth it. And also, this is a minor league system where, yeah, there's a lot of good bats that are close to being able to come up, but there are not a lot of pitchers that are down there. So I don't know if trading him would be the best move, just because I don't think you're getting much of a return, and I think you're literally selling at the bottom level. But I also did see, Isaac, you mentioned that it could have been kind of like let's see what he's got, like kind of like a showcase for a potential trade. But I don't think that was the showcase that a team would be like satisfied with seeing, basically. So I don't know. Do you guys want to hold Weathers, or would you rather move him? Where are you guys kind of at with what the Padres should do with Ryan Weathers?
I think you definitely have to hold him. I mean, if you were going to trade him, you should have done it last year. I remember we said that you should trade Weathers because his underlying numbers showed that he was getting very lucky and that he was due for a very immediate decline. And we got called out for that, and it looks like we were right. Like, Ryan Weathers went downhill, and you can also blame Tingler. I saw someone here, Tingler, Preller, and Rothschild. They did not help that situation at all. They just kept throwing him out there and hanging him out to dry. I've never seen a young pitcher get abused as much as they did on the Padres last season. It was a really brutal time for Weathers. He looked dead every single time he went out there, just because he basically went out there to get lit up and try to make it through 5 innings. He was basically just fodder for the other team. But now you kind of have to keep him. You have to hold him and help him get through this tough time that he's had. I mean, you could probably have to wait until the offseason, but you can have Ruben Niebla work with him like he did Mackenzie Gore. You can send him down to the facilities, just kind of take him away from a competitive setting, really tear everything down to basics. I think that's the best thing you can do. I think Matt was spot on with that. And also, like Matt said, you really look at the pitching depth in the minors, there really isn't any. Pedro Avila is having a bad season. Robert Gasser has been having an all right season. I think the best guy that I checked the last time I looked was Jackson Wolf. Moises Lugo has been a reliever. Kevin Kopps has been hit and miss. Reggie Law has turned more into a reliever than anything due to arm injuries.
Susana, Chase. Susana's ridiculous.
Oh, he's ridiculous, but he's 19 years old at one of the lowest levels in the minor leagues. You don't have a lot of depth there. Realistically, you kind of have to keep Ryan Weathers and kind of hope he takes a turn for the better in the future.
If I'm being completely honest, I really don't care what they do with Ryan Weathers. Whether they keep him or not, it's whatever. Apparently, I mean, so this is what I saw. I saw people were talking about how he threw a fit over having to go to the bullpen last year. And that's what got him sent down to AAA. And his parents and, the Weathers family apparently threw a fit. That's what I saw. That's what people were talking about. I don't like that. I think that he would be great out of the bullpen to start his career at minimum, and then he could turn into a starter kind of arm. But I don't think he's going to come out of the gates as a starter type of arm. I mean, yesterday, his fastballs, I saw Jorge Alfaro get up multiple times on end just to get to that 92-mile-per-hour fastball. A 92-mile-per-hour fastball. I really don't think the Padres would have brought him up if it I don't think they would have brought him up if it weren't for anything other than an audition. I personally don't think. I mean, they had to have known like this is going to be. We might lose this game, but screw it. Like we're up plenty of games. We got a lot of ground, and we'll be fine. Great that the Padres won. And I don't hate Ryan Weathers. Like I've been defending Ryan Weathers, saying he's really young and and he's still got a lot of potential. He's still got time to grow. Let's just be patient. But I mean, if getting Ryan Weathers out of here to net a solid outfielder does that, then I'm okay with that. Yes, we don't have much prospects down in the farm that are pitchers, but the farm can always be replenished. They can always replenish the farm one way or another. So, I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't know what Weathers' timeline is. I don't know if it'll be next year or the following, but if we keep him, I'll be okay with it. If he goes, I'll be okay with it. I mean, I don't think it's a win, lose, win, whatever it is. It's whatever.
Yeah, and also I don't think any of us were expecting Ryan Weathers to go out there and have a good outing. That was pretty much what I was expecting in that case. And I think I even tweeted out, I was like, why are the Padres doing this? Like, don't throw the guy out there when he can't even, when he has a 1.8 whip in the minors. Like, and also, but at the same time though, I don't know if you guys saw, Reese Kinnear has almost the exact same numbers, and they called him up and he looked all right. I feel like the difference is like Ryan Weathers has just been like completely all over the place. But I don't know. It's been tough. I also see some people have been talking about Hos's defense. Hos's defense has completely fallen off the table. Early on in the year, like, dude, like 3 or 4 weeks into the season, that man was 99 percentile on outs above average on Baseball Savant. He had been great. I'm gonna check right now in a second to see what it was, but before the series, he was at 66 percentile. It might have fallen a lot. That was a bad defensive series. Now, the bat did come alive a little bit, which is good to see. But we've voiced how we feel about Eric Hosmer before. I think he's a guy that maybe not, like we talked about benching him, more of like platooning him, where you either have Myers, Voigt, Cronenworth, some group of that eating up a lot of those first base reps. But it would I don't know. We've talked about it like so much, so I don't want to get too much into Hosmer. But I don't know. What else do you guys kind of want to touch on?
Outs above average went up.
What is it at?
It's 2 now.
79. It went from like 67 to 79 or whatever it was when we did the Eric Hosmer video. It was in the 60s and now it's nearly 80.
I don't know how. His outs above average went from and you're talking about percentiles, I know, but it went from 1 to 2. Crazy.
After last series.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm just going to ignore that. But realistically, we know what Haas does first base. Like we said, it wasn't even I think it was when Weathers was on the mound yesterday, when he had that backhand to first base and he absolutely launched it. I thought it was going into the opponent's dugout. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, he threw that way too hard to a pitcher running down the line. That is just an error waiting to happen. But he got the out. I unfortunately didn't get to see the game today, so I can't say anything about the error. But everyone says it looked pretty bad, so I'm going to agree with y'all and just jump on the Eric Hosmer hate train because I hate Eric Hosmer playing first base. I think the way that you maximize this lineup is that, I think we've mentioned it before, you throw Voigt at first and you give Alfaro DH reps and put Nola at catch. Because Alfaro definitely needs to be in the lineup more. He definitely needs more days at DH just because it also keeps his legs fresh. It lets Nola catch the pitchers. It's perfect. It's just, that's the way you maximize the lineup. Outside of when Eric Hosmer goes on a random stretch, which he might, just because for some reason, every time we crap on Hosmer on YouTube, Eric Hosmer decides to come out and be the best baseball player for a week and make us eat his word or our words, and then he goes back down to earth. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, dude, he hit today, which was very very weird, but I mean, he made those 2 horrible plays today, so cancels out. I mean, I don't know what his ranks are among first basemen. I'll look at them right now. I said I was going to look at Alfaro's too, but Alfaro is above an 800 OPS now. I'll look now, though, in terms of first base. I'm looking at it from an OPS standpoint. Eric Hosmer is 22nd in OPS, but let's go with only qualified players. Eric Hosmer is 19th in OPS. I mean, the guy's getting paid like a top 5 first baseman, and his OPS has dropped. What is it, like 200 points since April? 300 almost. That is,
It's still under 750.
Yes, it's under 750. His OPS has dropped an insane amount since he started off the season. How many times do we have to talk about April Hosmer? I mean, we talked about him so many times. It's pretty unbelievable. We talk about him like he's a god. Yes, he is a god in April. He's Hos God in April. But other than that, it's not very pretty from Eric Hosmer. Like, yeah, he puts together some okay at bats. He'll hit the ball every once in a while, but like, it's not going to be for power. It's going to be some singles. And I mean, he's okay with guys on base. I brought up his stats in the Eric Hosmer video of guys on base. They're okay. It's like a 245 average, maybe around a 700 OPS. But the problem is he just doesn't hit for power. That's all that's missing. I mean, other than that shit defense, all that's missing from his game is just hitting for damn power. If he was able to do that at the plate, I wouldn't mind his defense as much, but he doesn't play elite defense. He can't hit for power. But I mean, it's not like lately he hasn't been very good in the lineup. But when he's hitting for average, I guess he's okay. I mean, I don't know what to think of him. I obviously, you guys know I don't like him.
Yeah, I mean that's also like his tool at this point. Like his one tool is he is a solid contact hitter. But when the contact goes away, it gets tough. I did see it. So I saw a comment earlier asking who are the Padres' current All-Stars. It was right at the beginning, but I think that's a really good question. I think that's a really interesting one. I'm trying to think about who it could be. The problem, okay, I would say, dude, like honestly, Alfaro could be in the conversation, but you can't even vote for Alfaro because Nola's a starter. Like if you go and vote on the MLB app, you can't even vote for him. So unfortunately, Alfaro is not even a candidate, even though he's probably a lot better than most of the catchers. We've talked about the current catchers in the MLB right now. Like most of their offensive numbers are pretty tough. Wilson Contreras will also definitely be probably the starting catcher in the All-Star game, I'm guessing. But looking at who could be All-Stars for the Padres, I know a lot of people bring up Jurickson Profar. I don't know how realistic that is. Not because like he wouldn't be the left field starter, but because it seems unlikely that he'll be able to actually like win one of the outfield spots because you vote for outfielders in general. It's not position based. It's like you can vote for 3 center fielders or you could vote for 3 right fielders or whatever it is. So I think it might be hard for him to get an outfield spot. Machado, 1,000,000% will be an all-star. Musgrove absolutely will be an all-star. Gore could be an all-star. I could see him coming in and pitch an inning.
So as of right now, he's not qualified for innings pitched he would be in the 5th spot if he qualified in innings pitched, right under Pablo Lopez at 2.3. Corbin Burns currently has a 2.52. He would be 5th in the NL, but he's not qualified yet.
So can he still make the All-Star team though?
I believe so, but they might go for a guy who has more innings with the same ERA.
And name brand. I mean, you look at it, Sandy Alcantara, you got Pablo Lopez having a fantastic season, Corbin Burns, Joe Musgrove. There's a lot of guys that are having amazing seasons, but I essentially think these 3 guys are the locks. Taylor Rogers, outside of a couple starts today, I mean a couple stints out of the bullpen. I mean, he's been fantastic. He's been a lockdown closer outside of a couple damn it, man, I can't think of the word. A couple stints out of the bullpen is what I'll go with again. But they've been, there you go, appearances. Yeah, man, they've been, I think these are the 3 locks for sure. I thought, if Jake Cronenworth got hotter a little earlier, I think he would have definitely been in the conversation. But with Ozzy Albies injured, I think McNeil might start it. I mean, I'm going to look at the second baseman stats right now, but I think McNeil will probably start as the second baseman. Yeah, I mean, he leads the NL in OPS, but right there is Jazz Chisholm, so he might start as the NL starter too. Or I mean, I don't know. There's Tommy Edman also. There's a bunch of guys that are definitely candidates to start at second base. What's up, Chase?
I will say this. Remember, it is fan voting. It doesn't matter how good the player is.
That is true.
It depends on how much the fan base wants that player in. So
That is
Cronenworth
true.
can make it, Machado can make it, Profar can make it. Hell, even Eric Hosmer can make it. I would highly suggest not voting for him, though. Paul Goldschmidt is obviously the better choice. Our whole infield can make it. Profar can make it. Like, if y'all just vote for him, they will make it. We have the power to do that. The Padres fan base is a very tight-knit community. They love their players. We could get every guy we wanted to in. Unfortunately, I don't know how Alfaro will fit into that because I don't think he's under catcher because he's not under the qualified innings for a catcher. I don't know whether or not they would put him at DH. It also might have to do with his at-bats and plate appearances. He might not have enough. But we can get any guy we want into the playoff, or not into the playoffs, into the All-Star game with our votes. Don't forget that.
That is true. Essentially, I do think Chisholm's going to start as a second baseman. I mean, it's a popularity contest. This guy's arguably the most popular player in baseball right now. You see him all over the place. He's the MLB's new marketable guy, right? I mean, that's what I think he is. So I do think he's going to start at second base over McNeil. I don't know. I do think Machado. I've been voting 45 times a day. I think Machado, Musgrove, Rogers. I think those will be maybe Darvish. I mean, Darvish has been pretty solid, but it's those two starts that heavily inflate his ERA, unfortunately. But yeah, I think we have 3.
So yeah, I saw that Devin asked, Machado, Rogers, Musgrove. I think those are the locks. I think Darvish is up there. I think it's very likely that Darvish makes it. Also, you guys are talking about popularity. Dude, Darvish is one of the most popular MLB players. Also, I don't know if you guys know this. Did you guys see about Darvish's son?
Bro, the fact that his name's Shohei is so sick.
Isn't that amazing? Dude, he apparently he looks nasty too. He's gonna be sweet. I don't know. I just saw that and I was like, this is so awesome.
That organization, the CBA, they always produce some pretty good baseball players, and it helps that his dad's Yu Darvish.
Yeah, that's gonna help a lot. Also, he's probably gonna be a huge dude too, because Darvish is massive.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do write-in voting. All right, guys, write in Alfaro. I mean, people aren't gonna know who to vote. I mean, people vote Contreras for catcher though. That's the problem.
He's gonna get it. Yeah, he's gonna get it.
I think Padres
Don't
fans love their
underestimate.
players. Hosmer doesn't count.
That's why I said don't vote for Hosmer.
Guys, no, I definitely think
the Cubs had every single one of their players on one year, including Addison Reed, who was hitting 200. Anything is possible here.
Addison Russell did not deserve it.
So what you're saying is we're voting Will Myers to the All-Star game, right?
I don't know if it will count because he's hurt. But I will vote 5 times a day if that's the case.
So Caesar says, think about its fan base. I feel a little bit nervous because people don't like Machado. Machado made it last year, though. So, like, that is an example of him making it. I also think, I think a lot of people have been voting Machado in the Padres fan base. I've been voting Machado. So I think he will make it. Also, if you just look at the numbers, it's going to be hard to not toss him up there. And is it so? I know, the NBA All-Star game, you get a certain amount of people that join through fan voting. If Machado didn't get in for fan voting, can the league override that and be like, all right, guys, this dude's a top 3 MVP candidate. Get out of here with this. We're bringing him up, but he just won't start, right? Isn't that kind of the way it works?
Yeah, he'll be like a backup bench player. Worst case scenario, probably join the home run derby or something. Oh, that's a good. Who do you guys think is going to be in the home run derby this year?
Oh, shit, that's a good question, Chase. Let me see.
Well, they have to say yes.
Yeah, they have to say yes. They have to say yes. They have to agree to it.
So it's usually younger players. I'm gonna take a look.
I think. I mean, do you guys think Alonso's a lock to be in it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
I think he's solid for it. I don't know if Judge is going to do it because of what happened last time.
Be in it so bad, but
I don't know if he's going to just because what happened last time. Gallo, maybe.
Okay, so since it's in LA, they have to have somebody in it.
So Mookie will probably do it.
I think Mookie or
no, they had Muncy do it last time.
Yeah,
but Mookie has 17 home runs right now.
I don't know if Mookie would do it.
Maybe Bellinger.
I think it'd be Bellinger.
Did Bellinger have that many home runs?
He doesn't.
No, he just
but
has more power.
it's
Yeah.
batting practice, you know. I
I
mean,
think you gotta have. I don't know if they start putting guys there with like bad
Oh,
numbers.
Stanton.
I don't know.
Stanton has to do it, right?
The year when Stan
Bro,
did it, that
imagine
was so
Stanton and
awesome.
oh my
Judge
god,
battling it
was
out.
I
Stanton and
was there
Judge battling it out.
when it was in San Diego. I went to go watch it, dude.
That was
I
crazy.
was amazed what Stanton did.
Bro, even Duvall was crazy too.
Mm-hmm.
Someone says Gavin Lux.
Oh my god.
I
How
think
about do you guys think who did I just see,
Acuna, maybe? Bro, Acuna's batting practice is absolutely insane to watch if you haven't seen it. I've never seen someone hit the ball further. I've seen Stanton hit home run derby, home runs. I've watched Acuna's batting practice, and he effortlessly crushed them like further than I have ever seen anyone hit a baseball.
Did you ever see Acuna when he was doing his long toss and he threw it from the foul line into the crowd?
Even crazier. Yeah, that was
I didn't
crazy.
do that.
Sorry, I love Acuna.
That was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Devers, maybe?
Would be great. Oh, Devers should do it, dude.
Jose Ramirez should also do it.
Devers has been so good this year.
Has Mike Trout ever done it?
No, I don't think he'll ever do it.
No, I don't think he'll ever. He might towards the end of his career, but I don't know if he's going to do it now. But seeing him would might be really fun. I was thinking someone on the Marlins with Jazz.
Voit should do it. He gets angry. This could be a good treatment session right now.
No. They should have Voit do it and paint the balls as Tommy Pham's head.
I do think someone from the Padres should do it.
Voit.
I do think someone from the Angels. I think someone from the Angels should do it too.
I was gonna say,
what I would really like to see.
Taylor Ward would be so cool, dude.
One I really want to see is I want to see Trout and Harper in it, just because like those that were like the dudes like so long. Yeah, they've always been linked.
Mm-hmm.
The two golden childs of baseball, the two ones that are supposed to be one of the greatest players of all time.
I was thinking about it because you know how a lot of people are like, oh, like Harper's overrated, and then you look at him, you're like, dude, Harper's a Hall of Famer.
So good, dude.
But I was thinking about it, and I think the reason that's like the take is because Harper played during the Mike Trout era. That's the problem, is that he was that good, but everyone knows Trout's better. So it's like, I think that's why it happens. Well, but I think Trout
absolutely.
That is definitely part of it, but it was the MLB chose to kind of broadcast the MLB around Harper. It was Bryce Harper's the best player in baseball. Bryce Harper's the prodigy, this, and this. They kept pushing Bryce Harper because Mike Trout didn't want to be the face of baseball. And all the true baseball fans go, this guy isn't the prodigy and everything. It's Mike Trout. He's obviously way better, but Mike Trout's not going to be the face of baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at like the expectations that Bryce Harper has had. He's lived up to him in every way, shape, or form. Every way, shape, or form, he's lived up to him. You look at it, his worst season is like an 814 OPS with 24 home runs. I mean, other than that, 1109, 11 or 1 or what is it? I don't even know how to say it, bro. But consistently above 1,000 OPS, not consistently above 1,000 OPS, but 3 seasons above 1,000 OPS. Other than that, 889, 882, 962, has two MVPs now. I never thought he was overrated. Chase knows, like I'm a big Harper fan. I really like Bryce Harper.
Didn't you have a jersey?
I had a jersey.
Jersey. I just remember you wearing a Harper or something every couple weeks to school.
Harper's dope, man. I mean, I never understood. I guess I only understood the overrated talk because nobody liked him because of the antics he would do on the field. I understood that. But if you look at it from a pure stats standpoint, in no way, shape, or form has he been overrated.
Yeah, I totally agree. Clint asked, how is Machado not an all-star starter? Only if he doesn't get voted in. He absolutely should be the all-star starter.
Yeah. Scared they'll do Arenado. Very scared.
Jock Peterson should also have the ball painted with Tommy Pham on it. That's fair.
Yeah. You guys see what he said today, Tommy Pham?
Yeah, he didn't regret it. Yeah,
He said another. I thought that was that the other day or was that today?
today.
Did he say another
That was
thing
today.
today?
That he didn't. He didn't regret it, and that about 100 people thanked him for slapping Jock Peterson in the face. And so then the top comment was, and another 1,000 people think you're an idiot for it.
Dude, that I don't even know, dude. We were talking about bringing him as like outfield depth. I'm very
glad
happy
we
that
didn't.
Tommy
Thank
Pham is not a part of
God.
this team.
Thank God. That
Oh.
guy is just a chemistry killer, bro.
Yeah. No.
God, just to imagine him yelling at Kim again just for nothing, just for catching a fly ball in the outfield. Yeah. For
Can't.
making a play that he couldn't. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, it's pretty crazy that happens because like we've seen even this year where like Christian has like ran into Azokar, I think he ran into Profar on like 2 different times where that happened, and they just laughed it off and they were cool. Fam's literally there screaming at Tommy Pham, like, dude, really, man? Like, he obviously, I don't know, I that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't know what else you guys got. We'll probably take off in a little bit, but any other questions you guys want to send our way before we hop off? This was an awesome series. This is a fantastic time right now to be a Padres fan.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
just got a little bit of announcement. Don't worry, guys. We know that draft day is coming up within the next month. We'll get you a detailed video on all the draft prospects that we think the Padres will get, some of the guys to look out for, some of the guys that will probably come within the first, second, and third round that the Padres will be hunting. Just keep an eye out for that. We'll keep you updated on everything. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and also that'll be kind of, dude, because the draft got pushed back. It usually would have already happened, right? June 5th, June 6th.
Yeah,
so right around
usually.
early June usually.
happens.
So now this year they just decided, let's make July absolutely insane. So July has the drafts on the 17th, and they have trade deadline on the 31st. So probably a ton of draft / trade deadline content. And I know we've been doing like typically like 5 to 7 videos a week has been like what we've been trying to shoot for. But during the trade deadline stuff, if there's a bunch of stuff where like, rumor now, rumor later, we'll post multiple videos throughout the day. So we'll try to cover every single guy that's being discussed. And if we hear any rumors that like aren't really discussed that we're allowed to talk about, like we'll bring those up too. But I mean, usually the Padres rumors get leaked. They're usually pretty easy to find.
Very. I don't think I got anything. Obviously, it's a very encouraging series for the Padres. Yes, they played the Cubs, but you look at it from a strength of schedule standpoint. I mean, our strength of schedule has been harder than the Dodgers' so far. That's essentially our competitor. And then what's good for us is that we still got plenty of games against the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, and we got some pretty easy series here coming up. Those are the games the Padres have to win. I think there's a couple people knocking the Padres for being in this spot, but against pretty crappy teams. The problem last year was that the Padres put themselves in a position where they were below 500 because they couldn't beat the crappy teams. They couldn't beat the Rockies. They couldn't beat the Diamondbacks and many, many other teams. I mean, they played the Cubs early in the season last year in May when the Cubs were really, I mean, they were playing great baseball, but not essentially a very good team. And I want to say they got swept. Overall, last year's team is way different than this year. But like I said, I don't think the Padres should get knocked for an easy strength of schedule. They've been fantastic. They're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. They got a game up, a series or two, I want to say, up against the Dodgers here soon. Beat the Mets, beat the Brewers, took one from the Dodgers earlier this year. Pitching has been fantastic. The offense is looking great. I think this Padres team is essentially in a spot where they're in the best spot they've been since 2020. 2020, they had decent pitching. I don't want to say great pitching. Chris Paddock sucked. Cal Quantrill was okay. I think Luke Casey was the number 4. I forgot who was the number 4, but I mean, this pitching staff's a lot better. This is the best position the Padres have been in a while, so it's very encouraging.
100%. I also see Anthony's comment here. I hope this is the case, man. That'd be sick because that's the only. I think I get to go to 2 Padres series.
Yeah.
So this would be one of them. If I get to go to Fernando's return as the only series in New York, that would be awesome. But that'd be a pretty sweet series too. If it's the first series after the All-Star break is Fernando's returning to the Padres, and it's Padres Mets who at that time, I mean, we've talked about how light the schedule is. that could be the two best teams in the NL facing off right there. So that would be very, very exciting.
I did forget about Davies, bro. Davies was nice that year.
Was Lauer there too? Or was he the – no, he was 2019.
No, he got
Lauer
traded.
Yeah.
I
Because
have to answer one question before we head out. So Wavy asked this. I don't know if you guys followed the MLB draft this year. It was back in 2018, our senior year. I didn't really care for them drafting Weathers over McClanahan. My guy that I wanted them to draft was Matthew Liberatore. And I was really upset when they didn't take him just because he was falling down to 8th. His stuff was incredible out of high school. The Cardinals now have him, and I think he's pitching really well. He's a monster. He'll continue to be a monster. That's who I wanted. But yeah. Oh, also, we are thinking about playing the MLB the show together. We still got to talk about that and get everything settled through, but we might be doing that.
Yeah, we do that on Twitch. I bought the new MLB the show literally 2 hours ago. So there's also that to that question. But yeah, we might do that kind of stuff on Twitch or something like that down the road. So that'd be super fun. Apple, the company is evil, stay away. What do you guys think of Apple TV exclusively? Dude, I hate the way that the MLB does the TV stuff. It's so annoying. It's like, cause I don't know, dude. It's just I get why, and they make a lot of money off of it, but it does definitely annoy me a little bit. I don't know.
No, I have beef with this right here. Why am I in Arizona and I can't watch the Padres because they're a local team? If I buy MLB TV, I should be able to watch the Padres out in Arizona. If I am out of state, the Padres shouldn't be a local team. Actually, if you buy MLB TV, you should be able to watch your team regardless of blackouts. You are paying for a streaming service to watch every MLB game. That is ridiculous. And that's all I'm going to say before I go off more.
I completely agree, bro. I hate that I can't watch. Why can't I watch the San Diego Padres in San Diego? Bro. What? I mean, Chase's argument definitely makes more sense because, bro, he's in Arizona and not able to watch the Padres of all teams. But why do they make it so hard for you to watch your team? It makes no sense. On top of not being able to watch your team because of blackouts, some games are on Peacock. Some games are on Apple TV. I mean, what else are they going to do, bro? It's ridiculous.
Dude, this is getting annoying. Also, Chase, how many hours? Okay, because the whole idea is that you're local. How many hours would it take you to drive to Petco Park for a game?
Oh, let me pull it up on the maps right now.
It's like 8 hours, right? It's so ridiculous. It's got to be so long.
Park.
Oh,
actually, 6 hours. 6 hours.
So you're super local.
Yeah, right.
6 hours. It's just because I can take the 8 all the way there. But if I'm driving to like Anaheim or LA, that's an 8-hour drive.
Anthony
but I think I can watch the Dodgers though.
It's the same distance, if not less.
Yeah, I can watch the Dodgers. I can watch the Angels. I just can't watch the Padres.
That's wild.
That's trash.
Anthony, how do you get blocked from 6 teams in Nevada? That's crazy.
That is
what?
Insane.
Giants, A's, Angel. I can only think of 4. Oh, maybe the Diamondbacks.
Rockies, Diamondbacks.
Dude, the Rockies, but Denver's probably far from most spots in Nevada, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, Lino, you're in Phoenix and you can watch Padres games? Is it just because I'm in Tucson? What the hell is this? This is some BS. What the hell?
Because you would buy MLB TV, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Dude, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
I have to search illegal streams and hope it doesn't crash my phone.
Same.
Laptop.
Same.
Nah, I don't pay for the subscription because I can't watch the games. There's no point in me buying.
Agreed.
Yeah, I know that I can't watch some of them, but most of the Padres games I can't. Every once in a while, they'll be over on the East Coast, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you can't watch them. They're in Philadelphia." I'm like, dude, I'm not going to Philadelphia. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's
train 3 hours? Hell no. All right, guys. I think that's all we got for today, but I'm super pumped about this team. I'm very happy that it's not. Please, Fernando, come back. This team is barely surviving. This team is one of the best teams in the league, and Fernando's not here, so it is pretty sick to watch. And it's been awesome to watch and cover this team. Last year, the beginning of the year was super fun, right, guys? And then the last month or so, it was getting rough. Talking, oh man, dude. Weathers got rocked again. Oh no, another 3 bullpen games in a row. It was just getting brutal, but it's been sweet to watch this team. Super pumped. This is also a lot of people have talked about like, oh, this team fell off last year. This is not the same team as last year. The reason the team fell off last year is because they did not have starting pitching. That is not going to be the case this year, unless you see like 4 guys get injured, which fingers crossed is not the case. Knock on wood, all that. But I mean, that's a lot different than barely having 3 to 4 guys for the most of the season. So I think that's going to do it for today's episode, though. So thank you guys all for listening. And we'll have a couple episodes out over the next couple days. And then Isaac and I will be going live on Sunday. I think Chase, you'll probably be at work when we do that. But yeah, we'll be covering a bunch of Padres stuff. And then Chase also brought up the draft video. I think we're going to be doing that next week. And Ryan's going to come on. He's writing an article for East Village Time, and he's been really covering the draft a lot. So he has a bunch of guys that he's like, and also, if you guys don't know, this draft is one of the most stacked drafts ever. Yeah. So the Padres are going to be able to get some significant players, and the Padres didn't lose a bunch of their picks like a lot of teams did. They have a pick in it's like the comp round after the first. They have a lot of draft capital. So they're one of the teams with the most draft capitals in the league. So pretty sick to see that. Then you have teams like the Phillies who spent all their money, lost all their picks, and are terrible. So the Padres are in a very, very good spot right now, and it's been awesome to watch. So we will cover the draft, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow about, I'm not sure what the topic's going to be, but a couple topics over the next few days, and then we'll be going live after each series like we typically do. So thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you all then.